Every time you hop in your car, you're speaking a language you might not even realize you're using. I'm talking about the language of your vehicle's lights. And it's not just about following some dusty old rules. It's about safety, it's about communication, it's about survival out there on the road. So let's get fluent. Picture this, because we've all been there. You're cruising along, everything's fine, and then boom, you hit a wall of fog and the world just disappears. In that split second, what do? Which lights do you flick on? Knowing the right answer isn't just for a driving test, it's absolutely critical in that moment. Really, it all boils down to this incredibly simple but powerful idea. Every single light on your car, from the headlights to that little one on your license plate, has one of three jobs: to help you see the road, to make sure you can be seen by others, and to communicate what you're doing or about to do. If you can get these three things down, you've basically mastered the language of the road. Okay, now here's a term we've got to understand because it unlocks everything else. Insufficiently lit. This isn't just a feeling. The law has a really specific test. Can you read a license plate from about 2 car lengths away? Can you spot a dark-colored car from about half a football field away? If the answer to either of those is no, then congratulations, you are officially on an insufficiently lit road, and a whole new set of rules kicks in. All right, let's start with the basics. Think of these as your everyday toolkit. These are the lights you're going to rely on from dusk till dawn, and every single time you drive into a tunnel. They are the absolute workhorses of your car. So this is one of the biggest mistakes you see drivers make. Position lights, or parking lights, are for, well, parking. They're your car's stationary sentinels, standing guard when you're stopped on a dark road. Here's the key thing. They are absolutely forbidden to use while you're actually driving. They're just not bright enough, and it can be super misleading to other drivers. And now for the real MVP of your lighting system, your low beams. These are your go-to lights for driving at night, zipping through tunnels, and navigating those special reversible lanes. And you know what makes them so great? They're specifically designed not to blind other drivers. That means you can pretty much never go wrong with them. Seriously, if you're ever in doubt, just turn on your low beams. It is always the safe and correct bet. So if low beams are your trusty everyday tool, think of high beams as the powerful specialist. You only bring them out for a very specific job. You're on a poorly lit road, between cities, and moving at a pretty good clip. But hey, with great power comes great responsibility, right? You never use them in town, you don't use them when you're stopped, and you absolutely never use them if there's any risk of dazzling another driver. And this, right here, is the golden rule. The absolute #1 thing you have to remember about high beams. The second you think you might dazzle someone, whether they're driving towards you or you're coming up behind them, you have to switch back to your low beams. It's that simple. Your need to see way down the road never ever trumps their need to see at all. Okay, so we've got clear nights covered. But what happens when the weather turns nasty? This is where things can get a little tricky, and honestly, where a lot of drivers get confused. So let's clear up the fog around fog lights. First off, it's so important to know that your front and rear fog lights are two completely different things. Up front, those white or yellow lights are there to help you see the road right in front of your car. But in the back, you've got this incredibly bright red light with only one purpose: to help the driver behind see you through the absolute worst condition. Now, this chart looks like a lot, but check out the patterns. See how your low beams are almost always compulsory? That's your base layer. And the front fog lights, they're almost always an optional helper. But the real key here is that rear fog light. Look how often it says forbidden. That's because it is so incredibly bright, you only, and I mean only, use it in truly severe conditions. We're talking very heavy rain or snow or thick fog. Turn it on any other time and you're just blinding the person stuck behind you. And here's a cool little pro tip, an exception that most people don't know about. Even on a perfectly clear night, you're allowed to turn on your front fog lights if you're on a narrow, windy, poorly lit road. The whole idea is that they spread the light wider, helping you see the edges of the road better on those really tricky curves. Pretty neat, huh? All right, beyond your main beams, your car has a whole bunch of other ways to send signals and communicate. So let's quickly run through the rest of that safety toolkit you've got. The hazard lights. We've all seen them used as a park anywhere I want button, right? Let's be really clear. That's not what they're for. Your hazard lights are a critical warning signal for real emergencies, like when traffic suddenly stops on the highway, or if your car has broken down and you're a danger to others. They're for emergencies, period. Here's a number for you: 2.10 meters. That's about 7 feet. Why should you care? Well, if a vehicle is wider than that, think big trucks, RVs, trailers, it is legally required to have extra little lights at the very top corners. They're called clearance lights, and they exist for one simple reason: to keep you from misjudging just how huge that thing is in the dark. And let's not forget the unsung heroes of the lighting world. Your white reverse lights, they automatically shout, "Hey, I'm backing up." Your bright red brake lights are that non-negotiable signal that you're slowing down. Even that little light on your number plate and the reflectors on the back, they all play a small but crucial role in making sure your vehicle is totally visible and identifiable. And finally, let's talk about the horn. Here's the thing that surprises people. Its main job isn't communication, it's collision avoidance. The default rule is actually pretty simple: don't use it. It's not for saying hi to a friend or getting mad at traffic. It is a last resort tool meant only for preventing an accident or, in one very specific case, letting someone know you're passing them on a rural road. So use it wisely. And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started, back to our three keys. Every light, every signal, every single rule we've talked about today is all designed to serve one of those three fundamental purposes: to help you see, to make sure you can be seen, and to clearly communicate your intentions to everyone else out there. So the next time you get behind the wheel and it starts to get dark, don't just mindlessly flick on your lights. Think about what you're actually saying with them. Are you just following the rules, or are you truly and fluently speaking the language of the road? Thanks for coming along for this explainer. Drive safe out there.